Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. It is Alexa from Teaneck Creek Conservancy. Today we will be doing another one of our snow mini crafts, a winter holiday bird friendly garland for today. So the finished product, here's an example that you can hang up on your outside trees, will look like this. So as for supplies that you're going to need today, you need a needle and thread. White thread. You're going to need some scissors to cut your thread. You are going to need popcorn, and I'm using fresh cranberries, as well as these dried oranges. And in the description for the event, I gave a recipe of how to dry these oranges. Basically, cut small slices of oranges, put them in your oven at 200 degrees for about 6 hours to dehydrate them and dry them out. That way they're easier to use. You don't have juice dripping everywhere, and that's that. And oranges are really great for a whole mess of birds that we have around New Jersey specifically, and they love to eat oranges throughout the different seasons. A lot of birds that will use oranges are orioles, grosbeaks, woodpeckers, blue jays. All of those will come to feast on oranges. So these slices are great because they're easy to work with. I even used some clementine pieces as well as like a regular orange that I just sliced up and then put into the oven at 200, like I said, for about 6 hours. The other thing is with popcorn, you're going to want to make sure that your popcorn is air popped, not the microwave bag kind, and make sure that it has no salt, no butter. It needs to be kind of the purest form of popcorn that is out there to make sure that it's healthy for the birds. Birds wouldn't be eating salt and butter. And then finally with your cranberries, I like to use the fresh ones because you can guarantee that there's no sugar added. Even though fresh cranberries are obviously more sour than dried cranberries, want to make sure that there's no additional sugars added or different, additives to keep the dried cranberries fresh. And cranberries are great because they are high in things like vitamin C and vitamin E for birds, and a lot of birds that enjoy these would be different jays. You'll get chickadees, woodpeckers that will also eat cranberries. So basically the idea for this craft is to create a garland that you can hang outside as part of your winter festivities and decorations. So I like using cranberries as well because they are red, and that's pretty holiday looking as well. And the oranges are really neat when you hold them up. If you have some light behind you, you can kind of see they get translucent, which is really neat as well if you have holiday lights up and you string these also on your trees outside. I'm just going to untangle my thread. Got a little bit tangled here so that we can start. We'll add on to this pattern that I've already started for this garland piece. Okay, so what you're going to do is with this pattern here, I did cranberry, 2 things of popcorn, 2 kernels, cranberry, 2 kernels, cranberry, orange, and then repeated all the way through. So I'm at the point right here where I would be adding another orange slice. With your orange slices, you want to poke through with your needle. And I did actually tie a knot to the end because your string or your thread may come loose. So you want to keep that on there so that you're not going to lose your needle every time. You just kind of poke through one side of your orange. And then you're going to do the same coming back through the other side, so that your orange lays flat on your string. And it's best to kind of do this near the rind so that you get it through a thicker part of the orange. And when you see I did it through kind of like a stitch like you would on clothing, and that helps your orange lay flat on the string. Otherwise it would lay up and down and wouldn't lay flat. So you do that. Next we'll move on to a cranberry. I also made sure to pick the cranberries out of my cranberry bag that were definitely harder. So these ones are definitely firm. They're not soft. They don't have any, injuries on them. They're perfectly good cranberries because we want to make sure that they're safe for the birds to eat. So nothing with mold or anything that would go bad on a cranberry. So the next thing you're going to do is taking your needle and your cranberry. You're going to poke it through where the stem would have been on the cranberry. Poke it all the way through and then thread that right on down to your bottom. And you will notice, especially with the cranberries, you can kind of see this is a white thread. Oh, can you tell? And it's starting to dye the threads pink from the colorations of the cranberries. Next thing you're going to do, you're going to grab some popcorn. And like I said, you can pick your own pattern. This is just the pattern that I had started. So I'm going to be doing 2 popcorn kernels together. And you're going to want to go through kind of the thickest part of your popcorn kernel. So that might break off, that's fine. Just so that way you have more holding it on there. So I have 1 and then another. And remember, this is popcorn that does not have butter or salt on it because we don't want to be giving that to the birds. And popcorn is actually really great for squirrels. So you might see some squirrel visitors to your bird feeder as well. Somebody asked what sort of thread. I'm using regular thread, just honestly from a sewing kit that I have. You can use thicker options for string if you think that it's going to be too light. I'm probably not going to make this garland very long, so it would just be enough to kind of cover the front of a tree. But I've seen other versions where you can use things like ribbons or even thicker yarns if you had a thick enough needle to get it through there. This is just regular thread. And it does hold up pretty well. All this is fairly light. And you want something also, the string, you'd obviously be taking back in after all of the birds and squirrels ate your food off of your garland. So something that you can bring back in. Don't leave it out there to be littered. Okay, so there is the next kind of part of the pattern. So those are oranges, and you can see with that translucent look of the orange. And you got to be careful with the oranges when you are baking them. Don't leave them in too long, and make sure you're checking on them because they can burn depending on how thin you slice them. So they're pretty thinly sliced. You want to make sure that they don't burn. But they do smell nice as they are drying out in your oven. Let's just pull this through. Like I said, I'm putting it through the thicker part of the rind of the orange. That way there's just more for it to hold on to, and I'm making a stitch. So here's the difference. Let me just show you that as well. So if I just put the orange through one way, it would hang this way instead of sideways, like I like that. So like I said before, you're making it like a stitch, stitching through like you would on clothing. And you can see this stitch that I made through the rind. Yeah. So you would continue this pattern as long as you'd like, for as many orange slices as you have. This is right here, all of these 4 slices, and I have 4 more from one orange that I had done. So you can get a pretty decent amount out of one orange if you're going to dry them and cut them up. It's a fairly small orange, to be honest. So you could definitely do more or less. And like I said, clementines, now that they're in season, are a great option to use as well because they're small. You can make some smaller versions and thread them through. And they're really cute and easy as well. So yeah, this is what it would look like. You can hang it up. You can keep it indoors, leave it outdoors. Comes out very cute. So you can keep on going until the end. So if you would like, we're doing other snow mini crafts. Starting on Monday, we have a bird feeder ornament, which is using peanut butter and ice cream cones. And then on Wednesday of next week, we will be doing a snowman sock hand warmer. So stay tuned for all of those, and thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll be sure to answer. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.